Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Blades and Banter podcast. Today, I'm Nolan Carney, and I'm joined by my two co-hosts.
Hi.
Oh, hi, I'm
Well,
Alexa.
okay, here's the
I'm
thing.
Clayton.
Last time, someone commented and said, "Thanks for letting the host introduce themselves." And I
Oh,
Oh, wait,
said,
really?
maybe I should have told you guys before we were doing it that you should have introduced yourself. But,
Okay.
the
eh,
They
spontaneity
know us
is
by
like,
now.
they know us who we are. It's
they know who we
fine.
are. They know what's going on. They know the deal. All right. This is kind of a hodgepodge episode, I
Mhm.
kind of feel. We have a lot of random news that we're going to cover that I've kind of been collecting over the past couple of weeks that I said we need to discuss a lot of this. And what's a better way to start than to talk about the reigning world champion and former world bronze medalist, Miss Alyssa Liu. Um, she went on this football guy. What is his name? Boomer?
It's Boomer Esiason. And so he was in the NFL and I think he played for Cincinnati for a few years. Really random. I have followed his daughter on Instagram for like literally 5 years because she
Is
married
she
some
like an
NHL.
influencer?
Well, she married an NHL guy, and I don't know. I just like really like her vibe. So I've followed
Okay.
her for years, and like that's how I was like, oh my god, wait, I kind of know who this person is, and I think it's kind of like a funny
It was so
collab. Like it's
random.
not.
It was the
Yes,
most random thing I've
he
ever seen
has
in my
his
I'll
life.
own
admit
like
I've
sports
never heard of
show.
this man
I
before in my
also
entire
never
He's an
heard of
life.
old
this
white
man.
guy. Um,
I don't think art's our demographic,
it's
Clayton.
not.
Sorry,
It's
sorry,
not.
sorry to this man. He keeps on me.
Yeah.
If I saw him walking down the street, I wouldn't know a
I
thing.
wouldn't
Not a
know.
clue.
Not a clue. But I do think that it's like it's interesting and I feel like this episode we're going to talk a lot about like media and exposure and heading into the Olympic season. I think it's actually really great that she was on a podcast that had literally nothing to do with figure skating.
Mhm.
It's his demographic is like complete, it's still sports, but it's like completely outside of skating
Mhm.
and like typical where skaters would go to talk about things. So I think that was actually like a really great play.
By
And
their media strategist.
totally by like her publicist and media team to like branch out to a completely demographic to actually get more exposure, especially heading into the Olympic season. And what I loved about this or about that podcast was that listen, this man had no idea who Alyssa was prior to like his team saying, "Hey, you're interviewing this skater
This
today."
woman.
And so you kind of like he asked questions that maybe like the typical skating would already like a know about or maybe steer clear from or
Mhm.
whatnot, and like it was a little bit different than what we would typically see, and I kind of love
Mhm.
that.
And she was very authentic to
Mm-hmm.
herself. I think the first thing that really stuck out to me throughout the podcast was that he had asked her a question about like her expectations like going into the worlds and kind of
Mhm.
compared the expectations of like what he's had like other people on the podcast of saying that they're so driven to win like medals or
Mm-hmm.
placements, and Alyssa just
Mhm.
goes like, yeah, I don't really have any expectations, like I don't really
Mhm.
care about the placements, like I just wanted to go out and skate clean, and just it really just shows that mindset that she has, that it isn't about any of the performances for her. It's just about
Yeah.
going out there and doing what she does. And she really is that type of person that I think is able to handle the pressure in a way that I think no one
Mhm.
else really is. I
Mhm.
mean, unless Ilya, compared to, and other than Ilya, is really able to handle at this moment. I
Mhm.
think a lot of the other skaters are so internal and have a lot of anxiety and kind
Mhm.
of confidence issues. And that's something that she definitely is not lacking in.
Mm-mm.
And I think that really bodes well for the sport in the long run because people are going to look up to her and be like, I don't want to go and win a medal. I want to go and make art. I want to go and skate to this song that I relate to. And like, I think we're going to hopefully, and we'll talk about this, see this more with announcements coming out this season. So yeah, I think that getting her in this position to talk about how she doesn't really care. Like it's about her and it's about the art that she wants to put out.
I agree, and I think Nolan, you talk about like authenticity, and I think that that's something that like Alyssa has in spades. She is
Hmm.
truly herself, and I think that like one of the reasons why we love her so much is because she's just her. Like I think in skating you're so used to being put in this cookie cutter mold of what you're expected to be and look like and wear and say, and like there's a lot of BS in the sport sometimes, and to actually like hear somebody say, I'm doing this because I love to skate, like God, like most skaters is like, well, you know, like I've been doing this my whole life and I have to do this and like this is my expectation and put in all these boxes and whatnot. And so,
And they're
but I
always
do,
like, you keep going.
no, and I think potentially a reason why we see her being so authentic is because she stepped away.
Mhm.
And the reason she came back is because she missed it. And like Clayton, you talked about her saying like, I'm skating now for the art of it. And I love that point she made is like, when she was younger, it was because this is what she had to do. And the Olympics were her dream. But now she's so much more focused on like the art she creates. And she has this really creative side to her. And she talked about how she's studying psychology at UCLA and like the mental side of things. And like she loves photography and just really being able to bring in all this aspects of like her authentic self and how that translates into her skating, I just think is so, it's just so her and it's so authentic. And I think even for like Boomer, the interviewer, he was in like a bit of shock, like
Of
what
how
Nolan was saying,
mentally
of like,
aware she was.
oh my God, like this kid. And he said, he's like, I've been doing this a long time and I've never interviewed somebody like you. And I don't think he was just saying that to like, you know, making everybody feel special. I think he was genuinely like, oh wow, this kid. And like, again, she's still 19. She's got a good head on her shoulders. And like, she's just not saying things because it's what like the media is expecting her to say. She's just so her, and like we love her.
Well, when you're 19 and you say that you want to emphasize the balance between life and skating and saying that my life comes first and skating's
Yes.
just a hobby when you're an Olympic athlete, that's crazy
When you're a world
to say.
champion.
Yeah, when you're just like even like nationally competing
Yes.
domestically, you know, some of these skaters are, it's skating is their life. Like that's crazy to think about. It's just looking at it also, like, you know, he had asked her earlier about like her junior days, and she said that she felt like she was suffering from the success that she had gotten as a child. And that kind of caused her to feel this dissatisfaction with skating. And then she took the step back and she comes back and it completely falls in love with the art and the sport of it again. And I think that that truly shows a level of growth from a person that is beyond the age that she is and shows that honestly, this is a little bit of a joke, but she would be a great sports psychologist.
She would be
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
She would be like, she is what, remember when Paulina Edmonds always used to say like that she was like a mental warrior, which like she kind of was. Alyssa Liu is like the ultimate mental, her and
Yeah.
Yevgenia Medvedeva, ultimate mental warriors in this sport.
And I think too, having Alyssa be, you know, a pigeon for the sport and to really represent how great is this, especially heading into Olympic season, we're having so much coverage. This is where you really start to see, you know, an uptick in people registering their kids for skating and learn to skate programs and whatnot. And what a great ambassador for the sport, and especially for parents to see this. I think looking back, you know, 4 years ago, we saw a child at the Olympics and being put on this pedestal, and God, I wouldn't ever want to put my child into a sport if I saw what happened with Camila Valieva. And I'd be like, wow, I have no trust in this sport and that my child could ever be brought up in a healthy and loving way. And then to see somebody like Alyssa, who has such a balanced and clear-headed view and like saying, I have my life and skating's my hobby. Oh my God, I'd be like, oh, wow. Yeah, my kid should do something like this. Like, I think just for an ambassador for the sport, like what you said, Nolan, is a great representative.
I think also it's so polarizing because you don't, you could honestly say this, you could say that for Alyssa too, but I think you could honestly say it for all of the, I'm not saying that you're just saying it specifically Alyssa, but you could say it for all of the women. I mean, like, look at what happened with Kaori and Alyssa at the Worlds.
Yes.
You know, like all of these skaters, all these women are very supportive for the most part of each other. Sure, they're competitive and want to win, but it's such a stark contrast of the competitive environment from what we saw in Beijing versus what we're seeing now. And what we're seeing now are women supporting each other and wanting the best to compete in a healthy environment and supporting each other in the triumphs and the losses. I mean, like, you have people commenting on Luna Hendricks' Instagram, she's coming back now, and you have
Mhm.
skaters that are cheering her on
Yeah.
that are
Mhm.
some of her direct competitors. And it's such a great contrast to see, and seeing the positive shift in movement in this sport um, from what we've seen. It's been a long quad. I think the quad is
Mm.
slow. It's gotten slowly better each and every year, and I think it's finally building to something that is sustainable and really emphasizes like the true beauty of the sport.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, that all of this doesn't take away that it is a sport and it is competition, and like
Mhm.
these
These girls
women,
want to
like
win.
these girls want to win. Of
Yeah.
course you do. It's a sport. Like you're not in it, like, I mean, maybe less like for fun, but like it's still, you still got that drive in you. But I think it shows that there can be, it's like not a this or that, it's a this
Mhm.
and this, right?
Both
Like
can exist.
both can
Yeah.
exist. So I think that's great. Really quick, back to the Alyssa interview, I will say something, and I think this was kind of the part that like Boomer asked some questions that like maybe like people would be a little more like weary of. But he brought up about Alyssa's dad quite a bit. And I want to make sure I pronounce this right. The Tiananmen Square incident. And something that I found really interesting, and we had known that there was maybe some people, some spies or intelligence, like when Alyssa was in Beijing, there were some concerns. But something that I thought was really interesting is she said that how she had to be interviewed by the FBI after the Olympics. And I was like,
it was before.
It was before. I thought it was after, but okay.
She met with them before because of safety.
Was she 16?
Remember also there was that person at the Olympics that like tried to lure her that people thought was like from the government.
Yes.
There's a lot going on. Like there's a lot.
There's really deep lore that I'm not like totally.
I don't know everything, but
yeah.
No.
And she doesn't have to share that because
absolutely not.
But
can you imagine like that? So imagine going into those Olympics and knowing
and
that
no
parents, knowing what we know now, that she had felt that like I don't know if uninspired is a fair word, but just like
I think it is.
I think it's a fair word.
She was checking off boxes that she needed to do.
She
was present.
She was present, but kind of this material and like these programs were just kind of like she wasn't feeling them. And like that on top of COVID, on top of the value of a scandal, on top of like the FBI investigations, like all these things compiling, like I can't imagine going in and being 16 going into those Olympics, and still coming in seventh in the
sixth, and then going and winning bronze at Worlds, which she was like, I kind of forget about that. And honestly, same.
Me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, she also
mentioned, are you gonna say what I think you're gonna
the triple axel?
Yeah.
Which we have seen at, I think it was at Four Continents. She had done some stuff during practices and nationals. And yeah, she talked so much about this season was about, building up that stamina and, being able to get through a program and whatnot. And now it's about kind of building back on that technical merit. And
she said programs. Did you notice that?
Oh, both programs.
She said programs.
Oh,
also, she's been doing, I saw her doing a Let's Loop.
Yes.
And flip loop.
And it looked good.
It was very nice.
I think she would have to bring in the triple axel for the short if Amber comes in hot with it, if we see Wakaba bring it back.
Young Yu will be back.
Yeah,
I think one at a point.
She can't afford to not have that buffer with those other girls given that the others
see how it
clean.
Goes
in the fall.
Listen, she won Worlds without it.
She did, but I'm saying like if Amber comes
if
in
everybody
hot,
goes
right.
clean,
I'm trying to be positive,
I agree, but I also think
I would
that
like to see her try it.
I would love to see her try it too. But I also think it goes to show that it's so much about the day of and who shows up and what happens, because with the triple axel there's high reward for sure if you land it, but there's also a big risk if you don't. Right. So yeah, I'm like, listen, I'm just curious to see how it goes, and I trust that girl. I trust that girl so much, and she's gritty.
I trust 2 of the 3 so far.
Okay.
If we had to name the Olympic team now, which NBC kind of did for us this week,
Mm-hmm.
or not
Mhm.
this week, sorry, this was 3 weeks ago, but we're just covering it now. But
Listen, it's summer.
NBC, and Alexa, I know you'll talk about the Canadian media,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
the NBC media, I don't know where they did this. Maybe
I
like
think
probably
it's in
like
LA.
maybe it's either LA, New York, like Pennsylvania, somewhere,
Pennsylvania, they have
maybe
studio
somewhere
there
up
too.
there. But this occurred a couple weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. We had there was 2 days, by the way. There was one pair that got their own day, and then the other people got their own day. So we'll start with day
Mhm.
one with Alyssa, Amber, Isabeau, Ilya, and Maddie and Evan.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So they were there for media day. They kind of did like basic things like skating poses. They had Isabeau doing like something with like Italian grandmothers, like making some like Italian food or cuisine or something like that. And they did like just kind of the general stuff.
They
But
did all the stuff. And again, this is like a Team USA event. So there were other
yeah,
athletes there from like, skiing and snowboarding
Mhm.
and whatnot. So you
yeah,
get the wide variety they do for all their the posters, the commercials, whatnot.
yeah. So, but the Shibutanis got their own day on the second day. And
Mhm.
you know who did not get invited at all
Which is Rob's
was Mr. Jason Brown.
rude.
No pair team got involved, and Christina and Anthony did
Mhm.
not get an invite at all.
Mhm.
So
I
that
think
makes me
this.
think about where ice dance is going this year
Mhm.
and how the domestic scores will start to pan out and what the
Mhm.
USFS will be pushing on the international scoring too.
Mhm.
Um, I'm shocked they didn't
I honestly,
invite Jason.
yeah. I think that's what I'm most upset about. I think it's just a little bit of a slap in the face. If maybe
100%.
he was busy, I don't know,
No, they were
but
no, that's BS because they were all
I
on the
don't.
Stars on Ice tour together.
That's
And like that
true.
means everyone went but Jason,
Right.
which
I
is
And they
think
didn't invite a pair team, and they have no
but
options for
but who are you
pairs like
inviting right now?
Danny and Ellie.
What if Danny's like he's in a boot?
Well, who else is going
I
for
don't know. I
pairs?
don't know.
yeah.
Again, I think that Jason is way more of a slap in the face than Danny and
Oh
Ellie.
yeah, no, I know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just
No, I
like
agree.
how do you they pretty much claim they acknowledge like, hey, Jason Brown is the reason why, he's saved our men's event, like, and then we turn around and not invite him. I think it's just like
And he's also
this
just such a fan favorite. He
he
is recognizable.
is.
He was at the Olympics in 2014, so people have seen him through NBC and
Right.
through in those Olympic cycles for now.
After Evan and Maddie, is he not the most seasoned?
Yeah.
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 So listen, we don't know all the inside, but that didn't love that.
So I think also one of the other topics that I thought was like really cute and wholesome. If this women's team is not Alyssa, Isabeau, and Amber, like I might have a stroke. I'm sorry, but these three girls with this like connection, like their
Mm-hmm.
TikToks that
The
they've been
TikToks.
doing, like it has to be these three because the coverage would be crazy.
So good.
They've backed it up on the ice for, I mean, Amber and Alyssa, or sorry, Amber and Isabeau, they've backed it up for 3 years. Alyssa did her job this year. Like,
Mm.
it is going to be so hard for anyone to even come close. And I'm like, I'm okay if no one does because I want to see these three there.
Yeah.
The storylines would be fantastic. You have
I want to see, yeah.
Isabeau the Italian, Alyssa,
Mm.
returning Olympic hopeful, returning from retirement, former or reigning world champion. Amber, someone who's overcome so much with mental health.
Mm.
She's kind of portraying that Simone Biles mental health role
Mhm.
in this
Mm.
Olympics for us.
I think there's a
And
lot of parallels you can draw between like figure skating and gymnastics, and they're trying to follow that same like media trajectory. Like we have, a scandalous like past Olympics, not ideal for us, and then we kind of like build past that using mental health, like which is awesome. Like I think that it really does is going to serve us well. I think coming into the
yeah,
media coverage.
And not to divert it too much, but again, we have these three women at the top. what do you think if you were somebody like Sarah Everhart or Brady Tennell
Mhm.
or Alysa Lynn Gracie, you know, that kind of like second tier of women's skaters, how would you find it in terms of like motivation? If you're like, if you see all of this publicity, and again, like ice is slippery, we know that like there can be very controversial Olympic takes when you think something's set in stone. How do you think that this would be fueling those girls who are like seemingly on the cusp before? I mean, we had Brady and Sarah on the Four Continents podium this season, beating Alyssa, right? So how would you feel if you were kind of in that second tier and like having to kind of fight for it?
Hungry. I'd be hungry.
I think for Sarah and Elise, I think Sarah is definitely a motivated, determined. She's kind of got that grit to her. I'm not so sure much about Elisa's personality, but for the two of them, I think they need to think, I would think more so as the future. I mean, if you're looking at this, I think Sarah has a legitimate shot of potentially getting on this team. And Elise, I think not so much. I think
No, I
Elise has got to
agree.
Do you think
focus.
Brady?
What about Brady?
So Brady's a different story because
I
Elise
think
and Sarah are the future,
the
in my
young
opinion.
ones, yeah.
And Brady's kind of old money that's been there. She's been reliable at times. Sometimes she's been faltered.
She
I
is
think
an
it's got to be.
Olympian. She did help contribute to that Olympic bronze medal in 2018.
I think it's tough
I do too.
because you see what's happening. And I think she's very, very smart and knows how to read. She can read the room. I think she's going to train like hell and try her best,
I'm
but
excited to see these ladies scrap it out. And I think
I do feel for her.
There have been upsets before in Olympic namings, and I think that like anything is possible. And I think that people have
The
been set
Olympic
up in the
teams.
media to succeed and then turn around and not produce. So,
And Olympic seasons never go as you plan.
no.
So,
no. Do we want to touch quickly on the shibs being on a second day?
Okay.
I think everything's intentional. You could argue scheduling, you could argue what, but I do think it's very interesting. And Nolan, you touched about like, you know, who the USFS is going to be pushing. I think by them having their own, that they were there on a separate day and that they were at the NBC media coverage day and like they're going to be getting this press says a lot.
Do you think that, okay, so I want to know if you think the reason they were there on a separate day was because of someone on the previous day, or do you think they just got their own personal day?
Oh, I think
you think yes.
I think it could be yes. I think there's probably some tension. And you know,
okay,
we're all aware.
Okay, the last thing we have to say about America. Alyssa Liu got mentioned by Simone Biles in an Access Hollywood interview. Did anyone see this? Because I think I was the only one that saw this.
I did not see that.
What?
Access Hollywood. Did you see it, Alexa?
No, I just saw it in your notes and I was like, what?
Access Hollywood did an interview. Alyssa or Simone was at like some red carpet or something. And she was like saying like, oh yeah, like talking about Alyssa on the ice or whatever, and like sending her support to like the Olympic year. And I'm like, skating is so back. If we're in Access Hollywood and like Simone Biles knows who Alyssa Liu is, like skating is back.
Oh, I love that.
Get out the milk cartons, get out the cereal boxes. Like, we're back.
Oh my God, who do you think?
Campbell's tomato soup back.
Oh my God, who do you think?
It's back, baby.
I can see like Ilya on a Wheaties box. Like I can totally.
Cheerios. I want them on a Cheerio box.
Okay.
I'll buy it. I'll buy
Honey
it.
Nut, whole wheat.
I like the
He could be Honey Nut. I feel like his hair, like the blonde, you know.
Maybe.
I like the whole grain ones, like the little purple box, and then they have this like very berry one that I'm into now.
Very heart healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for your heart.
Very good.
All right,
well,
to Canada.
To Canada.
To the land of the beavers and maple syrup.
Yeah, it's everywhere. So yeah, the Canadian Olympic Committee, COC, they did their same kind of like media summit day with their main sponsor Lululemon. I believe it was in Montreal. It was around the same time as the NBC one. In attendance, we had Piper and Paul, Marjorie and Zach, Deanna and Max, Leah Trent, and Maddie Schizas. To me, that is sending some very clear messages of who is on the team and what spots are still kind of up for contention. Notably absent, which I think a lot of people were aware of, was there was no men's skater there. Roman was not there, which
color me shocked.
I think says so much about team with Skate Canada right now and what their messaging is, that men's spot is open. I do think it's Roman's to lose. I do think when you look at the conversation, I mean, Wesley Chu injury, we talked about that last time, like
Gogolev, how's he?
We don't know. You have Alexa Rakic. But
your boy,
my namesake. But yeah, I do think that by them sending the skaters that they did, I think dance is pretty locked in. There is that third spot up for.
Do they have the third spot,
yes,
or do they need to go to Nebelhorn?
No, they got the third because remember, in that like fourth group when everybody was falling.
Oh, Allison Reed fell.
Yeah. Allison Reed fell. The Finns fell. So
so they made the free skate.
The third dance team made it in. So I think that third spot is between Paul and Alicia was that team there, and then there's also the they used to represent France and now they represent Canada. So. Yeah, but I think that's pretty locked and loaded for.
Yeah, they weren't in any spot to get a man that complacency in a media like there. Imagine I can see Roman's vlog right now, like come with me to the Canada Media Press tour or whatever, and like it's just I don't think they need to keep them motivated.
He needs to focus
and locked
this summer.
in. Yeah,
and I was gonna say, do you think that for him this would be used as motivation, or do you think that would like he would internalize it a bit?
I think he uses it as motivation.
I would hope so. I think he understands. I think he has his finger on the pulse of like, you know, he has to go out and deliver too if he wants. And the state of Canadian men's skating is just not.
He's semi-self-aware.
Yeah.
I think he's semi-self-aware of what's going on with his skating and what he needs to work on and improve. So.
Is that really cool, like artsy kid senior?
Oh yes, he is.
Anthony Perry.
Yes.
He's been working on his triple axel this summer. I know that's something that like we've been seeing. I don't know how consistent it is, but like I love a diva. Okay.
I know.
And
let's give him the spot.
Sure.
He could. He almost he was silver last year.
I know.
Nationals.
It's not outside of the realm of possibility.
Not. I wonder what he'll do if he'll compete junior or if he'll try to do senior this year.
Well, they didn't leave any host spot open for men's. They blocked those three up.
Yeah. You would think junior then?
I guess we'll see when like the Grand Prix.
The JGPs.
Yeah, when that comes out. But
yeah.
Lots of media coverage, we're getting all the promotional stuff. We're seeing the Olympics. Something
Speaking
else.
Of media.
Yes.
Okay.
We got some news today.
This is hot off the press.
Hot off the press.
So Tara Lipinski and Johnny Weir will be casted in the Traitors season 4 on Peacock, which is I'm a huge reality TV fan and I love the Traitors. So Nolan, do I need to give you a rundown of what the Traitors are?
Can someone break it down of what this show is, what happens?
So if you've ever heard of like Mafia or Among Us, like that game, it's pretty much, it's a reality show. The first season was like a mix of reality and just like random people. And then they realized like the bringing in more reality and like pop culture people bring in the viewers. So they bring in people to this Irish castle. It's hosted by Alan Cummings. Scottish, not Irish, Scottish castle, and they are on this castle living, coexisting together, and there are a couple people that are designated as the traitors. Each night there is a round table, which all of the cast sits and decides who they should banish, who they think is a traitor, and why they should banish them. Then they determine whether or not the person was innocent, a faithful, or guilty, a traitor. And then that same night, the traitors kill off someone. So, and it's a kind of like elimination game, kind of like Survivor, your last one standing wins situation.
What do you win?
you win
there's a money.
they do challenges to win money,
Yes.
and so everyone is contributing. So if the traders win, they split it up amongst themselves, or they can, kill each other off, and like that's gets really messy. It's great TV. The Real Housewives are on there. People for Big
So
Brother,
we put people
Survivor.
that don't need the money on the show.
Yes, yes, we do. We do in fact do that. So the money, that is my one critique about the show, is like the money kind of doesn't feel, it's more about bragging rights at the end of the day.
Mhm.
But so I think it's huge that Tara and Johnny are on, and it is supposed to air early 2026. So I'm hoping that the timing, I'm assuming that the
Perfect timing.
timing would line
Yeah.
up for the Olympics coverage, kind of
So they're
plugging
probably filming
that.
now.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like they'll probably filming it now because we had seen some stuff in the last like day or so, and it was just Johnny. And then when you texted this morning saying Tara too, I was like, oh my God, listen, nothing is coincidental. This is very strategic, especially heading into the Olympic season.
Oh, yeah.
If they're gonna be broadcasting, having that out
Mhm.
is so smart for the sport.
Mhm. And the fact that it's both of them, it's not, they could have
Yes.
just one,
Yes.
but both of them were, and working together, keeping them in longer on the show, I
But
think.
like, do you think they'll make one person a traitor and one person a faithful?
I
Like,
could see
I could see that
Johnny
too.
being I could see Johnny
Me
being a
too, but like
traitor.
I feel like people would think that, so then like maybe they'll make Tara that because I
Oh
think that
no.
if they kind of already come in as like a pair,
Mm-hmm.
that could also put more like targets on their back.
Mm-hmm. The traders can also recruit. There is normally a recruitment
Yes.
process of the show where they can like bring in one more person. So like if one of them is one, I highly recommend everyone to go watch it. Most of you should have Peacock if you're watching skating.
Except for if you're in
It's
Canada.
Or if
sorry.
you're using a
Oh,
VPN.
well,
Hey, you have my Peacock, Alexa.
I do. This is very true. Thank you, Nolan.
Well, not my Peacock, but yes.
but yeah. I mean,
So
I was excited to see like Johnny and Tara interact with like Lisa Rinna is going to be on this
Yes.
season.
Oh my God, it's gonna be so good.
Jason Kelsey's mom,
Yes.
and Travis Kelsey's
Oh.
mom, it's
The fact that like Taylor Swift might know who like Tara and Johnny is like by
know.
watching this.
I know. Do you think that they'll do like a little like
They're gonna
quick
talk about
recap
her.
of like of like? Do you think they'll give
maybe
Tara and
like,
Johnny a chance to talk about skating at
well,
all?
Tara and Johnny
Cool.
normally do like on the Olympics, like they have their little like show.
Mhm.
They have a little like
Mm.
NBC show they get to do. So I'm sure they'll talk about it at that point or
Right.
something like that.
Mhm.
Because Peacock's aligned with NBC.
Yeah, they're own.
Yes,
It's all
yes.
owned under the same umbrella. So no, it's
So
very smart, very strategic. It's really great for viewership. And if people are like, oh my God, yeah, like especially if it's airing during the Olympics, like if it's coming out, say like
like a
January,
month before.
that
Leading
builds
up,
the
yeah.
anticipation. It's familiar faces. They're gonna tune into that. I'm sure any of the commercials that are like right after that are gonna be of the Olympics. So we love when like media is very smart and strategic and it's not
I mean,
random
that's their job.
and it's literally listen, but sometimes they're not great at it. Okay. So
Yeah.
we like it when there is strategic thinking going into marketing plans. So amazing. I'm excited.
Isn't it crazy?
I know. But speaking of marketing plans that maybe need some work.
Okay. Are we going to talk about it?
Let's talk about Stars on Ice.
All right. Let's briefly. We're going to briefly go over Stars on Ice.
Very briefly. I know we kind of chatted about it. I chatted about it quickly because I went to the Toronto show, but since then there was
We've seen a lot of
US leg.
videos.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so I've been my thoughts. What were your guys' thoughts?
Okay. The theme, generally, I felt like it was geared toward a specific demographic, which, listen, I think that I understand why the theme was rock on ice. A lot of the people that are going there, that's a lot of music they grew up with. I think that if they want to maybe push it and get it to a different demographic of individuals, maybe you could have a little bit of a different theme, try to get maybe more pop artists, a little bit more of something modern, something more current. I think also the ticket cost, likely probably pretty high for just the general like family of four to go out and like watch a skating event if they're in town. I think that definitely like reduces the overall accessibility for people to be able to attend. I think it was probably the better well attended that we've seen in years. And remember last year it was canceled. Amber had talked about she wanted to go on it last year after winning nationals. She wasn't able to do that. So I think they did put a good, it did do pretty good, coming off the wave of Boston this year, riding the wave of, the Alyssa winning, Ilya winning, Maddie and Evan winning. So there was a lot of positives, but I think, there's a lot of work for them to really make it a booming event again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I
I-
think that, sorry, Glenn, I want to let you.
No, you got it. You got it.
No, I was just gonna say, I think the Canadian versus the US, I do think that there was more of kind of like a running wheel in the US. There was a lot more media attention. They added that second show in Boston because the first one was sold out. They added Alyssa to the cast really quickly. So I think that was very smart and strategic, thinking on your feet, knowing what's going to bring in those crowds. Really, if we have this momentum going, I think in skating we can see how quickly it can go away. So by really building and capitalizing on that, I think it was very smart. I do think that, and again, I just saw the Canadian version, so it was a different cast. It did feel a little low budget. I felt like all the budgets were kind of spent on the costumes, which were gorgeous. They're Matthew Caron, but like there was like no props.
Can I say something about the costumes?
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
some of them were well done. I think some of them were like pretty were production. Some of them I feel like I could have walked into an H&M and got.
They
And
probably
I'm
cost
not
like
gonna
$5,000.
and I'm not gonna yeah, I'm sorry I'm a big fan of Matthew Caron's
Yeah.
costuming, and I like what was like Isabel was wearing like a crop top gray t-shirt and like some
Okay,
leather pants in the
yes, I know what you're talking
finale.
about I know what you're talking about for that one.
There's
Yes.
some yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't all the
I agree.
I don't
costume.
know if he made all of
No,
those.
yeah,
No, and I do think
right.
for some of like the individual, I think more the group numbers.
Mhm.
But I think from just like bringing more people in, I know in the past, even for like competitions, like they would do it a lot where they would like bring in schools during like practice days, and you'd be able to get like these crazy big like group packages at a reduced cost. So that way you're like bringing in schools also to skating clubs specifically, and with like partnering with like local schools, and maybe if you have like a matinee show is harder. I do get that, but by having that like bringing in a different audience, then that also encourages kids to like sign up to like a learn to skate or a can skate, and like being encouraging that way. I also think by like having like early access or like reduced rates at events like Worlds or Nationals, or like getting that promotion going ahead of time, I think we kind of see it like, oh, Worlds is over. Oh, right now, oh, stars, like, or you see skaters posting like on their story like that week or that day, like, come see us tonight at this show, buy like link here for the tickets. It's like, if people live out of town, aren't there,
I
like
know. We already have
we already
plans.
have plans. This is something you got to really plan ahead to. But
Nolan, you
Yeah.
brought up a good point about the trade-off between like, is this a good training versus like a show situation. I think that to put in a really good show with like, I would prefer something that has like more of a storyline to it rather than like random rock songs one after the
Yeah.
other. But I think that takes away from the potential of it being like, okay, let's train. Like this is a good like keeping me in shape, keeping me warm for the summer.
Yeah. I mean, I think they did a good job. I think there were positives to it. I thought that it was great for the skaters to continue training throughout the summer. I think honestly, it just kept them at a good base level so that they don't have to like work as hard when they're coming back after they take their breaks. But I don't know, it's fine. I'm excited
yeah,
to see what they do next year. So
yeah, and I think kind of adding to that point, I think so much about the show is more about like skaters being able to like perform in a crowd and do more show skating versus competitive skating. I think is really beneficial to the athletes to be able to like actually perform and
and
take
expand horizons.
exactly, and to connect with the audience, learn how to skate in a different way. My understanding from what I've heard is that for a lot of the skaters, this isn't like it's like the biggest paycheck. That it's not necessarily for monetary value. It's more
Right.
for publicity. And kind of tying back to the media, I think like heading into an Olympic season, getting your name out there as much as possible is really important, which may be more valuable than like monetary compensation. So listen, you got to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah. And the iron was pretty hot in March, let me tell you. Okay. All right. We got some program news. I'm just gonna like, there's a couple that are briefly Well, I'll briefly mention Miss Star Andrews. She's doing a
Mhm.
Twilight, an interview with the vampire free skate. Haein Lee announced that she's skating to My Way by Frank Sinatra. I think she's doing a different cut, so someone different
Mhm.
like version of it.
Mhm.
I've been
Um,
looking up like other versions and like female vocals. I can't find any on Spotify. I don't know. I
I'll
mean,
find
obviously,
it. I'll send
yeah.
it to you. But she's also doing Carmen for the free skate, and I wrote next to it, I said young you would do a killer Carmen program, which I totally stand by, but she's doing Titanic, which I kind of love
Mm,
more. And I know
I
I
You
like
are
that for
mentioned
in
it
your
her.
last
Titanic
week.
I
era.
like that for her better.
Okay,
I,
but the one, oh, sorry, yes.
no, you're good. It's kind of like low-key not relevant. I was gonna talk about, have you seen there's this like TikTok AI account that is like AI point of view, you were on the Titanic,
I have seen what
and
this
it's like
is.
like Leonardo DiCaprio like doing like a point 0.5 selfie, like walking through
Yeah,
like and like sorry, oh there wasn't enough room on the door in the water. Like it's actually really
yeah.
funny. Sorry, my little
So
side.
I think one that's really interesting to me is that Kevin Amos is bringing back Bolero for the free skate, which people might not love this, but I personally thought this was a crazy good bolero when he did
I
it.
loved his Bolero. It might be traumatizing for him. I don't know if that's like he didn't
As
have
That's
long
the
as
more was
he's,
my concern was like,
Mhm.
yeah, like how does
yeah.
he feel about it? Because
Yeah.
Yeah.
remember, Nathan brought back Nemesis,
Mm-hmm.
and that did not
Mm-hmm.
go well.
No.
Hanyu brought back, what did he bring back? He brought back didn't he bring
Oh,
back the short?
he brought back
The
Semi
Rock.
like 4 times.
He's brought
But
back
Yeah.
like a couple programs like
yeah,
50 times.
yeah.
Who else has brought back programs that didn't? Michelle Kwan brought back a program, it didn't go well.
Actually,
Um,
Oh,
Ashley
Ashley.
did.
love you, girl.
Let's see.
Yeah, anyways, if it's gonna be like if
Yeah,
this is what you need to kind of like squash those demons, great. But if it's gonna like rehash them, like we can't be doing a waxel or actually just like
you
a
can't
forward
even like you
edge.
have to step up into the
You have to
jump a little
actually
bit.
jump a
Like
little bit.
that right knee needs to go up in
It
the
needs to go
air on
up
that
and
axle.
snap
Mhm.
down. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The other one that I thought was really this just happened yesterday, and Alexa, I have converted her because you two, when you first saw the Kaori Sakamoto um music,
Mhm.
the two of you were haters, and let me tell you, I was not.
I
And
said I was
I
gonna sob at the short program. I thought, but then I actually changed my mind. I think I'm like more of a
I also changed my mind.
naysayer.
I think I was like at the beginning, I had initial thoughts, but I didn't actually think them through. I just think it was like gut
Mhm.
reaction. And then I thought the short program was like actually maybe the short program might be more like sentimental. I don't
Mhm.
know how I feel about the free because I do think that they've been trying to like I think she'll be wearing gloves. I think they've like tried to
oh
put
100%.
her into this like
Yeah.
her free programs have been like similar ish in the past few years. And I didn't know how I felt about them. Like I love carry something like powerful and like
Mm.
strong, like the gladiator and like the woman program.
Gladiator plus woman, like that is just you just
Love.
can't beat that. You
I
just
have to
No,
can't.
say something crazy.
I'm
do it.
scared.
This program is gonna be better than the women.
Okay. Nolan loves the woman program and he is the
I
original
have a whole
woman defender.
backstory. I was the first off, when the woman came out and all of you hated it, I was the original defender of woman. I had a backstory. She was cradling a baby, like she was like a teen mom, like
She was like graduating,
she
she was
might have like
becoming
Mm.
been
a
a drug
grandparent.
dealer and
Like,
like was like going through
Hmm.
like life. Like I had a whole backstory to that program. Um, that free skate selections, I listened to all three of the songs.
I
I
haven't.
already known like two of them, but
Who has skated to them before?
Caitlin,
so Caitlin skated to the
Osmond,
non-Géorgien or whatever.
Oh,
And
it's
then
or the
that.
Edith
Gabby
Piaf.
Izzo, icon, skated to the first selection
Who also kind of looks like Caitlin Osmond. Gives me Caitlin Osmond
a little
vibes.
bit,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit facially. But Gabby Izzo, icon, miss her, even though she's competing still.
Hmm.
She skated to one of those pieces of music. So, I mean, Kaori's just choosing like two icons of the sport and their music. So,
I think it is a sentimental short program. My drawback is that like I want to see something a little bit more
I wonder how it will
empowering for
be
her.
phrased musically because
Mhm.
that music is The Time to Say Goodbye by Sarah Brightman it's nice, but it is very one tone.
It kind of plateaus.
It does
Yeah.
build at the end very amped. Like I can see where the step sequence will be, but I wonder if they're able to construct it in a way where there's more highs and lows because it's very
Mm.
low and then high and then low.
I'm thinking
Mhm.
about her Baby God Bless You
That's what I was
short.
thinking
That's where
of.
I'm going. And it was just nice. Like it wasn't
It
bad.
was fine.
It was fine. And I
Yeah,
don't want just fine for her.
not
So
for an
we'll
Olympic
see.
No,
year, but
and
Right.
I do think like, and again, I think so many people on Twitter were like, oh God, like we know that like we didn't have like I think we assumed that maybe this might be like a final season, but this is just like really the
It's
Yeah.
nail
kind of
in the
nail in the
coffin.
coffin.
and
It's just
so
hammer that in there.
I don't know how it got out because apparently she didn't like want it to be
But it was
published.
on the ISU website.
I
Like it
know.
can't get more official than
Well, I
that.
think someone on her team might have messed it up because I saw something on Twitter that said that she was like upset that
Oh,
the
I didn't see that.
program had gotten
Mm.
out. But
I just feel like there's a lot of barriers to get it something on published onto the ISU website. Like
yeah,
it wouldn't just be like a oops. Like I feel like
Well, you'd be surprised. Their pictures were all out of
I
whack
mean
whenever they
this
first
Yeah.
is true. This is very
uploaded.
true. You're
that was
right.
iconic.
You are right.
So this happened last week actually, but we did get our first glance at Laurence Fournier Beaudry and Guillaume Cizeron. Um, did you guys watch? Got to watch the full program.
I saw a clip on Twitter, I want
Okay.
to say.
Did
I
you
was
see the
okay to not
full?
give them the full. I was okay to like
Okay.
not give them the full
So
duration.
I initially saw the clip, and when
Mm,
I initially saw the clip, I wasn't impressed.
same.
And then when I saw the full cohesive program, I was, I wouldn't say that I was impressed, but I was left with a lesser, um, I felt a little more optimistic about their
Satisfied,
chances.
maybe.
It was not as bad as the clip made it out to be, I
Right.
felt.
The clip, I would say I was a little, I was like, that's not
They were
great.
slow.
Yeah.
That was very true. And the lift positions weren't the best. Um, do you think this is their free dance?
If it is the metamorphosis, now we did I saw a clip also of like them doing like a million dreams. If that's it, like
There's no way.
there's no way that's like super junior. But if it is the metamorphosis, what I think is really interesting is that initially Fournier Beaudry and Sorensen in the 2024-2025 season, they were supposed to skate to this music choreographed by Cizeron. So are they just
Oh.
taking the same program that was created for the former pair by Cizeron and just doing it?
You know, it is something that is so up his alleyway.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Because it's like not only is he like
remember they
giving
did To Build a Home, Moonlight Sonata,
Which, to be
that
fair,
the
gorgeous
Rain in the Black Eyes,
programs.
all very
Incredible
stylistically the
programs.
it's very
same.
much stroking the ego of himself. Like,
Yes,
oh,
for
I did
sure.
this program and now I'm gonna skate this yeah.
Mhm.
I wish for fair judging and scores. That is my
Clayton,
final
I hate
take.
to break it to you. We are
But
in
that's
figure
ice
skating.
dance.
It's ice
I'm
dance.
praying
If we
I'm
haven't
praying
figured out
every
by
day.
now,
I'm
it's
praying
all
every day.
fake.
I just want justice. I just want justice.
But I
A
have to
lot
be
of people
honest,
do.
even if they do keep this program, I think it's kind of a flop for year one. If
Yeah.
they with the hype that they think about themselves, I think it's kind of a flop.
Do you think there will be a year two?
Yeah, of course. I think they're gonna go till
Oh,
2030
really?
now.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Interesting.
Didn't they say in their interview that that's like the goal?
I actually don't know.
I think they had said that they wanted to continue till the French Alps Olympics in 2030.
Okay.
I
Sure.
mean,
They're
that would be
young. I mean, they're not
yeah.
like Chalk and Bates or
Yeah.
like Paul and Piper and all that.
But they're not.
Aren't they like 27, 28?
I don't know.
I'm gonna Google
I
it.
mean,
Hold
yeah,
on.
I mean
Sure.
that'd be a home Olympics for them.
I mean, ice
So
dancers go to like 50 now.
yeah, they
He's 30. He's 30 and she's 32. So
Okay.
they could push another quad if they wanted to. I could see them. This is ice stands. I'm not saying like anything's
Right.
possible, you know? But I felt that it was
we've all learned our lesson.
it was very mid. I'll have
Yeah.
to say that. Very mid.
Well, we can stop talking about them. But we had someone else that didn't maybe give their program announcements, but like gave some emojis and some like
Random
philosophic
text
quotes.
A
blocks.
Socrates
Yeah.
quote.
And a blank screen.
And like it
Was-
was it just like the crown emoji?
Yeah.
I
Like, you
thought-
think he's gonna like the remember like the Aliona Kosternaya, Billie Eilish, like in the crown?
Oh.
You know, it's not that, but
Do you know what I thought it was?
what?
I thought Benoit had took over his Instagram account.
He hacked it.
It wasn't black and white.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Well, the crown
There
was, I guess,
one.
Like it was just all quotes in black and white.
yeah.
Mhm.
Was it spaced out?
Yeah, I don't
No,
know. Oh,
it
it was,
should've
and it
been.
wasn't all, and
In
it
all
wasn't all
capitals?
caps. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, will we see him in Cranberry? Because he said coming in August 25. Are we
We
gonna see him
don't
at
know.
Cranberry?
So we don't know what it is. We just have those
No.
clues.
I mean, I
and
think
we have
it's
a
a clue to his
crown.
free skate,
Right.
but I have no idea what it is. If
Let
anyone
us know.
knows,
Let us know
what
Yeah.
you think.
What do you think it
What
is?
is the
Because
crown?
like,
Like
I'm
Game of
just
no.
oh,
I think
I
the
hope
crown is like
not.
something. I'm thinking something like, you know, another TV show. I wouldn't put like I'm thinking TV show because of
the crown. He's
The
doing
Crown
like
is
a
a show.
British. He's doing a
Oh.
princess.
You mean
He's
like
doing
a
a
royal
Lady Diana,
monarch or
Princess
something?
Diana.
he's doing the crown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see Ilya as like a Princess Diana truther.
Listen,
I
he got-
actually would
the
love
hair
to see-
matches.
I would like to see like him in like the like waltz style costume Prince vibe. Like I think that
I
would be like a
be
good.
down for it.
I would be into
I
it.
do too. I don't think he'll do it, but okay.
Well, let us know what you think.
Yeah. What programs are you excited for? Who do you think is going to skate to what?
What do you think's going to happen in the next couple weeks? Like, I don't know. We have Dreams on Ice that's coming soon, so we're going to start to see some
Mhm.
Japanese programs. We'll be here to chat about it. The Aqua Cup will be coming up with Wakaba and Yuna Aoki and Rion Sumiyoshi. So
Mhm.
we're going to have a bunch of things to talk about. Some domestic competitions. Glacier Falls is coming, my favorite competition of the year every year. Lake Placid, much, much more. So stay tuned for all the coverage. And thank you guys for watching. And thanks for joining me today, you two.
Yes.
Of
Thanks for
course.
having
Bye,
us.
everyone.
Make
Alright,
sure
bye.
make sure to like and
Oh.
subscribe because we
Well,
always
we already
forget to
we did
Oh,
do
We
we
that
got
at
gotta
the
just we
beginning.
gotta just
We
do
got
the front
it.
of the back.
Oh my God. Okay,
I
listen.
said
It's
it at
already
the beginning.
we talked for way too long. I already forgot what we talked about.
But-
So
All right, guys. See y'all.
bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.